I'm Graham, welcome back to Woodhill Park. In this one I decided to shed some light on my layout, so I've been working on the lighting on the TMD at the moment, and I've been adding things like these floodlights and LEDs to sheds, and generally shedding some light on the layout. I've also been doing other bits and pieces, so it's a bit of a catch-up, an update generally, and I won't waffle on anymore, so this is how I got on. These are the lights I'll be using. They're floodlights by a company called Evemodel, and you can pick them up for $5 for $13.99, which I think is very good. And from that, I got mine from that large shop online that we all know. Also, I've been buying strips of LEDs, which are very cheap. I mean, you could make them yourself, but they're very cheap off that auction site online as well. Some guy sells them, and they come in very handy for using in the sheds. You have to remember to add a resistor, a 100 ohm resistor, to the positive red wire before you install them, otherwise you'll damage the LEDs. But they do come with the lamps, which is pretty handy. It's just a question of adding them in to the wires, soldering them onto the red wire. I'm still in the very early stages of lighting the TMD, so I've got these new LED depot lights I'm putting in, looking good at the moment. Just wired one up, sort of fairly temporary, just to see what it looks like, and I'm probably just going to go using one of my old analog controllers. I've yet to work out what interface underneath the board I want to do to accommodate all the wiring. So I'll have one main 12 volt bus wire, but how to connect into it so it's quite a flexible system. So I've got to work that one out. Biggles has just flown over. There's a closer shot. Guys sitting around underneath the lamp, and there's quite a good coverage of light over the area that the lamppost is in. So pleased with the lighting, and very pleased with the price of them, and it's just the hard work of fitting them all now. But wiring's my game, so it's only a bit more wiring, which I'm used to working on all the time. Hopefully I'll retire from it soon and I can just do this as a hobby. I've just got it sitting on the workbench, so I'm pondering where I'm going to put the lighting inside this maintenance shed anyway. I've got 4 sheds in all that I need to light. There's another 2 in shot at the moment, plus the one you just see on my desk, and I've got a coach shed. This is the coach maintenance shed I've got as well, so I shall be lighting this. And in front of it you can see one of the new lights. I'm in the progress of wiring up at the moment. I've been picking up various 3D printed bits and pieces to add some detailing to the depots, and This is just an offcut that I was given at work from a 3D printer that just made a spiral coil of plastic, but I didn't paint it or anything, but it actually comes in black and looks quite representative of a coil of piping. So I thought, why not stick it on the layout? And it looks fairly good. It looks like a coil of piping that may be connected to a tap, or has been connected to a tap nearby for washing something down, or even siphoning oil from an oil drum or fuel. So you can use all sorts of bits and pieces sometimes. So even the offcuts from 3D printers can be of use if they look like something. I've picked up some 3D printed pipes, so could use them for loads, or like I am, dotting around the layout just to represent people working on drainage, or just constant maintenance of the area really. So they may stay or they may move on, but at the moment I've just put them here just to add some interest. I don't plan on gluing too much down, because I like to move things around and restage things. As I've said in previous updates, that I like to glue my figures on clear plastic stands so I can move them around and change the scene. So it just alleviates sort of the same boring look really. It's just my opinion. I just don't want everything to be rock solid and not movable. Some of the 3D printed stuff I have weathered, and some other bits need weathering just to give them a bit of character. I've been having a look at what I could glue the lights in with, but as I want to be able to remove them if I need to, I've been looking for a weak glue that will be strong enough to hold them sort of long term as well. So at the moment it's a bit of an experiment, but I'm just gluing them in with copy decks. So once this dries, it will go, whoops, a bit out of focus. Once it dries, it should go clear, and there'll just be a blob of copy decks underneath it, which should hold it fairly rigid. And should I need to pull it out again to do something, I can, without breaking up the light in future. In the end, I've decided to go for crimps and splices, as this is not so important as the running of the DCC. If I do get a fault, I'm quite willing to play about, try and get this sorted, but I think this is good enough actually. Also I've very carefully stapled up the wires out of the way, to be careful though, and not the neatest job in the world, as I'm a wireman. It is a bit of a mess, but I'm probably a bit like a builder. When I work on my own home, I'm not quite as tidy as I am when I'm working professionally, as I just want to get the job done, and it's out of sight anyway really. So as long as it's not hanging down and going to get caught or short out, I'm quite happy with it like this. But leave a bit of extra slack so I can pull things through. At the moment I've got a little terminal block as it comes down from the light, and then into some linking wires across to the 12 volt buzz wire, or bus wire should I say. Might be buzzing if I short them out. Hopefully I won't. I've now lit one of the maintenance sheds. The camera probably doesn't do it justice actually, because it does actually look a lot better than this in real life, but probably if I turn the lights up a bit in the loft it would probably look better. But that's the maintenance shed, the main maintenance shed, illuminated. It's also a warmer light, which probably is better for a workshop, because they would have had older lighting, probably sodium lighting, as you would have had for sort of yellow street lights. But the bright floodlit depot lights are bright white, which look quite good. What I'm using for the LED lighting in the sheds are these strips that you can buy on that auction site, very cheap, and they come with 3 LEDs, and they've already got a resistor mounted on the flexible board it's on. They've also got peel off sticky underneath, so you can stick them on things. They're very handy. You also have got pads up the other end from where the wires are, so you can join them together should you want to and make a whole line of them, so you can go down the apex of the shed you're working on, lighting it continually right through. So I may add some more to the large shed what I've been working on, because I don't think I've got enough in there. But I've just finished working on a smaller shed over here, and to make it look a bit more real, I've left a couple of LEDs either end that are white, but the middle ones I've covered them in something called Kapton tape. Now, Kapton tape you can buy on that auction site or that online shop, quite cheap, but and it lasts for ages. You use it to insulate DCC chips if you're installing them into your trains, but if you peel it off, one layer of it is a nice yellowy colour, so, and it's heat resistant, not as if the LEDs get very hot anyway, so you can just stick it directly over the top of the LEDs. And that's what I've done with this shed. If I open it up, I'll show you. Right, so the strip of LEDs are right down the centre, and that's held on with a plastic strip which is hot melt glued in place, and then a thermal block one end which takes wires down, some stiff wire down through the baseboard, and as I say, the centre LEDs I just cover it in the Kapton tape, so it changes them into a yellow LED. They do flicker a bit. Now that's probably down to the power supply, so I need to get a better power supply. It's only just on an old sort of train controller at the moment, but I think that gives a good impression of sodium lighting that you would have in a shed. Right, if I lower it down carefully, and then oops, lower it on top of the guys. But now if I just turn the camera off for a minute, and I'll get a better shot up the end of the shed. Right, so when the shed's in place, you get this sort of quite yellowy lighting, but as I say, I left one white LED either end, so you get a slight white sort of on the exterior sort of concrete as well. Just adds some interest, and the sides all lit up. I'll turn the lights off and you can see what it looks like. Right, with the lights off you can see sort of more of the yellowing effect from the tape over the LEDs, and then you can see the white floodlights in the background on the street light, not the street lights, the depot lights. Quite a contrast, so it adds interest rather than just all lights being the same colour. And look in the side windows, and you've got whitish one end and then yellows, well, down sort of the centre of it. Probably be a bit grainy this, because the camera's not a bad camera, but not brilliant at night vision. As I say, I need to put, I think, a bit more lighting in the bigger shed, and I may add some Kapton tape to that to give a yellowing effect. You could add a couple of layers if you wanted a brighter yellow. But I think it's coming along quite well. Just in my opinion though. There's always more you can add and improve on. Right, I'm going to have a go at putting lights in my carriage shed now. I've already put a piece of plasticard down here just so it's nice and flat on the apex of the roof to put the lights in. As you can see, there's a a bit of erudite across here from previous accidents where it was broken, but erudite's a brilliant glue, you know, epoxy glue, and you can fix a multitude of things, including your resin models with it should you break it. So with a bit of weathering on the outside, you wouldn't know that it had been cracked, so worthwhile using. Anyway, on with the lights. They're joined together already. I've joined them all together, and it's just a case of peeling the bases off. So my hands might get in the way of the camera, which I apologise for. But, right, I don't know how well you can see this, but I mean, it's pretty simple what I'm doing anyway. I'd already drilled the hole here, which is right in the corner of the shed, and then my single core wires just easily slid down. Because they're stiff, they'll just find their way down quite easily, and then it's a case of manipulating the shed without breaking it again, pushing the wires down and putting it in place. Once that goes down, that should be right in the right place where I originally had the shed, but just to check it, I'll just try a coach through, make sure there's enough clearance. Plenty of clearance that side. Maybe a touch more over this side. About there. Shouldn't have to move it again. Everything's okay up that end. That's it really, just a case of wiring it underneath and then switching it on. Right, all ready to plug it in, and hopefully another shed lit up. Here we go. Yep. Another shed lit. But you can see into there quite well actually, so looks like I've got to add quite a bit of detail, as you can see inside, so that's fine. I'll have to get a few more 3D printed items and fill it up with some interest. But yep, another shed lit on the layout. They're all lighting up together at the moment, but later on I may get creative and have different ones that I can switch on and off. But at the moment it's all on the same bus wire and it's all lit at the same time. So just one more to go. Just my engine shed up the other end. Pretty simple and pretty quick really. These LED strips are very handy because I do want to add more lighting to this maintenance shed, which is a Bachmann Scenecraft shed that a lot of people use, a lot of people have got. But all you need to do with these LED strips is to just tin the pads at the end and just add another section on, so they're very easy to add to. It's a question of just soldering on the next LED's wires. A little bit tricky, but there we are. Pretty simple, easy to do. I'll just do the same over the other side in a moment, but can reposition these wires as to move the LEDs back a bit. As they may be too close to the entrance up here, but I'm going to end up with more LEDs up this end, but I'm happy with that because the light from the single road or rail shed will light up this end anyway, the shed next to it, so I'm quite happy to have extra lights up this end, so this should do the job. Right, I'll just get on and finish it, stick it on and do the other side. Right, I've soldered them all in now, but I just noticed for some strange reason I didn't put any Kapton tape over them. That's strange because they looked a bit yellow when I switched them on for the first time. Oops, not quite long enough. So well, it's not very straight. I'm not an OCD type, but at the end of the day I like things to be fairly straight and tidy, so I have to get a bit of tape fairly straight. Oops, another piece over there. Same over the other side. Right, with the lights off in the loft, that shed now looks very well lit. I think that's a hell of a lot better. Just add some more LEDs and big improvement. and even with the lights off, you can now see the side of the shed lit up quite well as well. Okay, I've finished wiring up my last engine shed. This one's by Pico, but tends to want to break every time you touch it. It's not a particularly good kit. I held most of it together with an epoxy resin just because every time you touched it, something fell off. It looks okay if you don't touch it. And I weathered it, played around with it, but yeah, I just finished putting the strip lights, LEDs, inside this one with the same sort of capped on tape over them just to give the yellow light. I'll just turn the lights off and you can see the result. Right, lights are off obviously, so that's the result. It's a bit grainy on this camera, but and it's a bit brighter than this in real life, but it's not bad. So it complements the rest of the lighting so far. I'm not sure whether I'll add another floodlight at the end of it, on the far end of the engine shed, but no, not in no rush to do that now. So all the sheds, engine sheds, maintenance sheds, are all lit up now. I think you're getting a wavy picture because of the LED lighting I've got on in the background, just to add a bit of backing light. But just gives you an idea of all the work I've been doing. Right, other things I've been up to is taking delivery of this Class 43 set, the Farewell Tour set, which I've waited 5 months longer than I should have because of delays, and it's gone through 2 price changes which I'm not very happy about. I originally pre-ordered this for $269.99, and it's now cost me $326.69, I think it is. But it's, now I've got it, it's the same tooling as the previous sets I bought, which are the first and last, and I thought I was mad buying 2 of them. Sorry about my voice, a bit cold up here. I thought I was mad buying 2 of those at the time because they cost me £520, but it was a way to get 2 sets, and one of the sets I wanted obviously blue and grey, and I didn't fancy waiting. But now I've got the Farewell Tour set, which is sort of just a collectible item really. I think that's what's pushed the price up. Yeah, it's even got less detail than the previous version. I know the cab doors were pretty useless opening, but the new version hasn't even got the detailing with the sprung cab doors. It has got 2 fans in the roof instead of 1. It's got a matte finish instead of a shiny finish with a slightly lighter blue, so it looks more accurate, and sort of matte finish. But other than that, I think it's less detail for your money, not more, and certainly a lot more money than it's worth, in my opinion. So I'm not too happy with this Hornby, but I had it on order. I thought I'd be stupid after all that time not to take delivery of it, so be it. But I haven't pre-ordered much from Hornby, or through companies, via companies to Hornby, but I don't think I'll be pre-ordering much in the future, especially with price hikes while you've actually got it pre-ordered. So, paying £56 extra in a year's time is, I don't think I've heard of something going up that amount. Maybe our energy bills are going to go like that, but I think that's taking a mick of it. This is the first and last loco. As you can see, it's a slightly darker blue with a gloss finish really, but you've got the detailing with the cab doors still, and the detailing with the fans there. It's exactly the same, and these were being sold for £260. So why 326 for what's an inferior one, in my opinion? Anyway, I suppose that's my rant over. I will be running this set. I don't see there's any point in putting it in a glass case, even though people will probably pay a fortune in the future for it. It's a collector's paradise out there at the moment for some reason. Us modelers that just want to run things are really getting caught up in all these price rises. But I just want to run this as it's intended, and so I shall be putting a DCC chip and sound in it with mega bass speakers like I have done with my others. So it's not going on a glass shelf, it's going to be run. I don't do reviews, and I'm not really interested in getting into that sort of thing, but I wanted to mention about this because I'm pretty cross, and I'm sure there's a lot of other people out there pretty cross about this. As for the previous set I bought, I've been very pleased with them, but I did have two motor ends running together in the blue and grey livery, but now I found it's enough for just one motor end to even go up inclines, pulling coaches in a dummy with no real problem. So I've reverted back to using the GWR set, even though it's not from my era, but I don't want it just sitting on the side doing nothing. But I did find, running it on its own, that one of the bogies wasn't actually pulling. It wasn't rotating at all. So I had to take that apart and find out what was wrong with it. And cogs were misaligned, and you know, it was another quality issue that I had to fix, which I don't think I should have to. But I put it right and it runs fine now. But these things cost a lot of money, and I don't think the quality's there. Yeah. But yeah, I went out and bought some coaches for it before the prices went up on them as well. So I've got a few GWR coaches to match, even though it's not for my era, as I explained. But I don't like things sitting on the side gathering dust, and in glass cases really. I'm a modeler through and through. I like to run things. It would be nice to see somebody else have a go at making these HSTs, but I'm sure Hornby's got a stranglehold on the market in that department, which is a real shame, because it stops competition, which would keep the prices down for us modelers. All being said though, when they're running, they are nice models. I mean, just the look of having one of them on your layout, you've got to have it, haven't you? They are part of the 1980s plus, and even the 70s really. So, you know, with sound in them, they sound pretty good. So that's mega bass speakers with MTU sound in it, and pretty impressive. As I'm a bit softly spoken, some of you have said not that they can't hear me with stuff running in the background. I won't run it for very long, because you won't you won't hear me. But there she is, my GWR HST. Well, it doesn't belong to my layout really, but I didn't want it sitting on the side. A few other bits I've been doing are making some of these trees from sedum heads that a guy on YouTube was saying they look pretty good, so I thought I'd give them a go. So I made some of these for the layout. They are quite big, so they need to go in the foreground, but if you break them off and make smaller ones, they start to look quite good in the foreground as well, and in the background, should I say.